And welcome back, everyone. Excuse me, I'm stretching. It's a lazy day. I've got the day to just relax and do nothing for a change. It's very nice. But we still got two Who Would Wins to do. I didn't get to the other one because of schedule and all that bullshit. Anyway, point being is that I'm doing these two now, and we're on Egotistical Ghost. Ask the question: Who would fight, Nick Fury or Big Boss? From Metal Gear Solid, Nick Fury from the Marvel Universe, respectively. Should note that though that is the Sam Jackson Nick Fury in the thumbnail, that is just the thumbnail that I chose to do. It was it's public domain, was the Death Battle Phantom, so anyone could take that. It is just Nick Fury as a whole. Now, Big Boss in the Metal Gear Solid. Apparently, I never played Metal Gear Solid. I know enough about it. I know Solid Snake. There's Solidus Snake. And I know they're clones of him. He was always considered like the ultimate soldier. He sought combat and things along those lines. So even to his dying day, he's a pretty physically fit individual. Ended up contracting a virus near the end of his life and died of the virus. But I mean, he's a master at hand-to-hand combat, warfare, weaponry. He's the perfect soldier in many regards, or the ultimate soldier in many regards, because he doesn't believe in mercy killings or anything like that. He will just take your life. I mean, Nick Fury is also considered somewhat of the ultimate. He's not the ultimate soldier. He's more the ultimate spy. He's skilled in many forms of unarmed and armed combat. He has an invisibility suit, if I remember correctly. He has a few different gadgets on call. Both these guys spent their time kind of leading and commanding people later in life, but still got involved with their own adventures and their own physical confrontations. What big key difference that we see between these characters, though, is more of, I think, the mindset of how they approach a situation, because they live in two very different worlds. In the Metal Gear Solid universe, there's giant robots, sure, that you called Metal Gears. There is cloning. There is viruses, but like super viruses. But that's something that stands within a real world perspective on some level. Even the robots stand in some real world perspective. The world Nick Fury lives in, you're dealing with guys who can wipe out reality with a snap of their fingers. Women who can summon down lightning. A guy who can heal from anything. A 70-year-old super soldier frozen in ice come back and fight. Indestructible metals. People who can warp reality. People who can multiply themselves infinitely. You're dealing with just a completely different world. So you have to take into consideration how they handle themselves in their own respective worlds. And Nick Fury is someone who just commands respect even in that kind of world. Big Boss commands respect in his own world, but you make the argument that Big Boss would command respect in the Marvel world if you were to put him in there, and vice versa. And I think that's one big key difference between these two guys is if you switch them out, put Nick Fury in Metal Gear Solid, and you put Big Boss in the Marvel Universe, Big Boss isn't a spy per se. He's a soldier. And he's a good soldier. He's like one of the best. And he could definitely handle himself for a little while in the Marvel Universe, but ultimately he doesn't have anything that would allow. He doesn't have the resources per se to take on someone or take on like some of the heavier hitters in the Marvel Universe. Nick Fury actually had the resources to take on some of the heavier hitters in the Marvel Universe. Not necessarily win, but at least take them on and neutralize them. But if you put Nick Fury in the Metal Gear Solid universe, Nick Fury honestly would just blend right in. I mean, Nick Fury's a spy, but he started as a soldier as well. So, yeah, that's the thing. Interchangeably, Nick Fury is interchangeable between these two universes. Big Boss is not. Now, how does that factor into an actual fight between these two? Well, first off, in a scenario where these guys fight, I think it's pretty easy to say that, let's say Big Boss, in an attempt to get Solid Snake or whatever his goal was, maybe sneaks onto one of the helicarriers and, to get information or something like that. And, Nick Fury, he comes across them and the fight commences. Nick Fury, in a straight fight, I'd imagine these two are equal. These two are probably like their respective equals in combat. They, back. They probably fire at each other. Both probably have body armor on. It'd be a lot of just back and forth, no one getting a solid edge over the other in this fight. But if Fury leads him to a certain area and he's able to get, say, some specialized weapons or his invisibility suit on, then he'll immediately take an edge over Big Boss. But Big Boss is used to some things like these. So what Nick Fury does have on his arsenal isn't something that Big Boss isn't used to on some level. He's encountered things like that before. Even invisibility stuff, I believe he's encountered before. So he would definitely have the he wouldn't have the edge, but he'd have an easier time dealing with Nick, I think, than Nick would overall be dealing with him. Just because Nick, I think, will feel like he had an advantage once he put that on, but he wouldn't realize Big Boss would be able to find him or take him on. So the fight would continue on for a good while. Now, the question it's going to really come down to is who's probably going to get the... Would it be a kill blow? From Big Boss, I think it would be a kill blow. From Nick Fury, I think it'd actually be more of a knockout blow because he'd want information. So the question is, who gets that blow? Well, in every, and I mean every interpretation of Nick Fury is not... He's portrayed as an older dude, but he's not portrayed as like 60 or 70. He's portrayed maybe in his 40s or 50s. Whereas Big Boss, even young Big Boss, sure, but we're going by the older bit, like the standard Big Boss we see, that guy's usually in his 50s or 60s. He's usually older. Now, he's still a beast of shape, but he's still portrayed as older than Nick Fury. So age may start to play a factor in the fight. Ultimately, who do I think wins? I think it's going to be Nick Fury because Nick Fury's trained not just as a soldier, but as a spy. And as a spy, you have to learn some stealth and just quick kill techniques, poison, whatever. You have to learn different techniques as a spy than you do as a soldier. Nick Fury also just happens to have the training of a soldier on top of being a spy. So I would ultimately have to probably give the fight to Nick Fury. I think it would probably end with him maybe like hitting a nerve cluster or something and knocking Big Boss out. Or you know, fuck it, just hit him in the head with something. It's like, it's like, okay. It's like, security, get him in there. So yeah, I think I'd probably go Nick Fury, but these guys are kind of... these guys are cut from a very similar cloth, so it probably isn't anything more than like a 60-40 split. But I do think Big Boss does lose and Nick Fury wins. I'm going to go 60-40. What do you think, though? You think Nick Fury wins, though? You think Big Boss wins? I'll admit, I don't know a huge... Even looking up Big Boss a few moments ago, I don't know a huge amount about Big Boss. And even knowing as much as I do about Nick Fury, I could tell Big Boss is like, these guys are very similar. It'd be a pretty close fight. But I'm going to go 60-40 in favor of Nick Fury. But what do you think? Put in the comments below. Let me know. Thanks for watching, though. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Ideas for who would win, Star Wars, Super Magic, what if, anything I do on this channel, be it Dragon Ball discussion, whatever. Put in the comments below. Let me know. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you, honestly, in a little while.